Difficult to find a group. We do know that is an issue with Flashpoints. We'll be addressing that in the future. And that's in a later slide, so I guess I'll get to how we're addressing that stuff. Those are the current states. So in 1.2, we have Lost Island, new Flashpoint. It finishes the Chaon storyline with the Tian hegemony and the Rakghoul outbreak. The future of Flashpoints. More Flashpoints coming. Again, major updates. We'll keep updating them. Group Finder. So that's a major thing. We're going to be introducing that in Game Update 1.3. Now it's called Group Finder, not necessarily Flashpoint or Operation, because it's going to be sort of all-purpose. Also for missions, story missions of that nature. Now it's going to be single server only. So yeah, I mean, community is obviously very important. We don't want to have random pug dude who just goes AFK and doesn't care about his reputation. I'm not trying to watch my language here, but you know what I'm saying. Those guys. We can avoid that when more people know each other. And discussion topics, operations, current difficulty. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? I guess we already led that answer with one of the bullet points, but we can discuss that some more. New story difficulty, allowing everyone to play. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback and questions about that. How difficult should it be to end, gear up and end game? People are in two different camps with that kind of thing, so that's some interesting points to. Oops, I clicked too fast. There we go. All right. So yeah, I guess at this point we open it up for questions. Steven, you're running around. All right. Now, of course, these are the topics, but it's not limited to this. I mean, ask away, whatever.
Yeah, so I won't be running around because, I have supporters to do that. So, Chris on this side, Beth on the other side will be moving around with mics. So just stick your hand in the air, and I'm sure many of you have many questions. Just a reminder, those ground rules, please, no epic speeches. But anything you have to ask Dave and Steve about operations and Flashpoints, stick your hand up.
On operations, I'm wondering, is there the ability to get trash mobs to drop in to help, cash to help pay for repairs? And then on Flashpoints, reverse alter for high levels so that they can go help lower levels, but still get some kind of more maybe legacy experience or social points.
So as far as the more trash mobs dropping cash, actually, Bjorn, do you want to answer that one? He's dealing with the economy stuff right now.
I can, yes. So we're looking at repair costs. We know it's definitely an issue for the community. I'll show some graphs later in regards to how the cash is distributed between players. At the current time, meaning for 1.2, we don't anticipate changing the repair costs. There will be tweaks to the economy in general to distribute the money a bit more fairly. The reason is that we need to bring additional sinks in place in order to make sure that we don't have runaway inflation. We do, however, know that the economy is a pain point. Whether or not Flashpoint drops will be the right way to go about that, given how you can start a Flashpoint and then maybe clear out just the loot at the start and maybe start it again. Probably not so much, but we will be doing something about the repair costs to bring everyone up a bit more into a realm where they feel that they have cash. Not more than God, but cash.
And so as far as the kind of reverse the mentoring system you're asking about, that is something that we all very much want to do, and we're excited about it. We've been discussing it. We don't have a sort of ETA on it at the moment, but a reverse bolstering is in discussion.
Along with the new tier of raid content, will we see separate lockouts? So Nightmare and Hard Mode will be on separate lockouts?
Nightmare and Hard Mode is going to be on the same lockout. So, no. Because again, and the reason, just to touch on it in case we'll talk about this in past interviews, but the story mode and Nightmare and Hard Mode are on different lockouts, is because the Nightmare and Hard Mode we see as sort of the guild progression one, the story mode is the casual pickups, and we didn't want to stop people from being able to go kind of outside of their groups and socialize in the casual type mode. I'm hearing feedback. Yeah, so next question?
Yeah, so you touched on loot as being an incentivized version of Nightmare being created in hard mode. Is there any other incentives that you're putting in there to not lockouts, but obviously is there going to be a differentiating point between 16-man and 8-man when it comes to the two grade settings?
So 16-man and 8-man, we want them to be sort of a relative difficulty. Now, obviously inherent, there's more difficulty in organizing 16 people. So on the stat side of the NPCs, we kind of lower some of the stats to compensate for that difficulty difference of coordinating and get everyone to execute as they need to. And the target is to hit it at the same difficulty level. There are higher like mount drop rate chances, things of that nature. There are a little bit more loot in the 16-man mode, but it's the same type of loot. Just more, there's obviously more of it, but in addition, the sort of bonus loots like recipes, mounts, things of that nature, a little bit of a bonus with that. And was there a second part to the question?
Well, I guess it's similar in the sense like you sort of see that right now there's very little differentiation, so I'm just wondering where you guys are going. Are you looking at and encouraging a focused differentiation between the two of them, or are you keeping it the same?
In the immediate future, we're keeping it the same, but again, we're constantly looking at the feedback in the community and seeing sort of what everyone is keen on. But right now, it is focused towards the same kind of content.
Wondering if there are any plans currently to introduce time-stamped achievements for boss kills or something similar to that to help validate, when an individual boss is killed to help foster the competition in the raiding community?
Yeah. Now we all very much want to do that. I can even hand it over to Damien. He wants to talk about that a little bit with the achievement type system stuff. But yeah, we do. That is something we very much want to do.
Yeah, I love achievements. It breaks my heart we didn't get them in. We want to get them in and do them right. And part of the reason why is when you look at the Marbles 4, the kind of people who play in kind of mass multiplayer content, for the killers, that's really all about competition. They're motivated by being the first kill on a server, and being part of that great race is an incredible feeling. I know when I played that other game, that we will not be named, we actually managed to beat a boss by 5 minutes, beat another kill by 5 minutes, and that was just an incredible feeling. And we really like for that to exist in our game and to, be able to be validated so that people knew that the other guys are telling the truth and whatnot. But we have long-term plans. We have nothing that is on the immediate horizon, but I'm passionate about it.
And to add to that, obviously when we come out with a new MMO, new engine, stuff like that, we're working through some of the bugs and whatnot. Once it's sort of fine-tuned, we get the better guild testing, and we get into the sort of difficulty level we want. That's also a good opportunity to then introduce that system, as opposed to dealing with it, having it earlier and some people cheating to get ahead and not being legitimate and doing those types of things. So yeah, something in the future for sure.
I'm just wondering, there's not a huge difference between like Kalumi and Mercado here, so it's not a huge incentive to go in a party to get their gear. So I was wondering if there was going to be a bigger gear disparity with the new raid content.
Sure. Well, we can have the items team people talk about it a little bit, but there will be more of a disparity. We didn't want to, our early target was to not inflate the gear too much. We did end up inflating it more than we actually wanted to. And so the difference between those two at the last level, like the column, or rather the team needs to the column has a big jump. And then after that is kind of almost a prestigious type jump, because we didn't have the gating of the next content yet. But what do you guys want to add to that at all as far as the gear progression?
So we have one new tier for PvP and PvE coming. It will have a bit more, I would say, sensical stats, like not so much accuracy if you care about these kind of things. Although I do have to say accuracy is useful when you're going after tanks. The other compartments across all gear pieces that currently support them, which means there's a completely additional set of gear that you can pursue now and that you can use to customize your character. On top of that, you've seen probably the PTS notes for 115. We're introducing the lightsaber crystals with expertise on it. There's limited PvP crafting, we can go into that later. In general, there's more disparity between PvP and PvE in terms of the gear. It will not be as easy to cross over. It's still possible, but you definitely can't go, let's say, to your Battle Master gear and then jump over into the highest level of operations, these kind of things.
So my current question is, what is the current stance on operations? I know there's mixed feelings in the community about this, but as a raid leader myself, I at times find myself a little bit frustrated not knowing how my raid is doing as far as metrics. So threat meters, combat logs, damage meters, things like that. What is the current stance of your team on eventually working those two?
The stance is that we want to have it, we want to have, like, instead of a reliance on those things, we want a reliance on the in-game visual cues. But that's not to say we don't want to have them for those players who do want them. And obviously things like seeing who is not carrying their weight as far as DPS goes and damage, those things are very useful when running guilds, especially if we're trying to hit those progression quickly. So the stance is that we want to have them. We want to have them in, and they're just not in the game update 1.2.
Well, almost. So we actually do have something for you, because we do realize it's actually really important, especially if you're a raid leader, operations leader. Everyone drink whenever we do this. We're much more fun this way. So we do realize that it's useful not only to identify what are we doing wrong. There's enraged timers. It's problematic to understand what exactly you're doing wrong. So what we, on the other hand, don't want to do is we want you to have control over what other people see about your character. We didn't want to go out and let other people just go out and judge you, so we kind of went with the middle ground. As with Game Update 1.2, you will be able to enable a very simple output into the chat window, which tells you what did just defeat me, or it will also print out when you defeated someone and which attack triggered that. Additionally, we have a very, very detailed parsable combat log that you can able to be written to disk. It will show everything incoming and outgoing from your character. Someone enterprising like a guild would have no problem probably correlating that into the big picture, but we're not allowing you to just flag a button and then see how is everyone else doing in the group at this point. So yes, you will have a parsable log, it will have threat in there, any kind of effect applied to your character, removed from your character, detailed damage numbers, damage type, critical, all that kind of stuff. And you can do whatever you want with that, but it will be out of game.